Good morning, everyone. This is Abby Fress. I'm with the USDA Office of Human Resources Management, and I'm going to be your host for this hour-long virtual panel with the U.S. Department of Agriculture today. Welcome. If anyone's having any issues with sound, we posted a minute ago the call-in information, so feel free to use that if needed. We have a great slate of returned former USDA returned Peace Corps volunteers on tap to talk to you today, followed by time to answer all of your questions. I know this is a challenging time for many of you, particularly those of you who have been brought back from your postings. But at USDA, we're actually really excited to be able to have this opportunity to talk to you about careers in our organization and hopefully to hire a whole bunch of you. In fact, we're even holding a virtual hiring fair the week of April 27th, dedicated to interviewing RPCVs who apply for our positions on the Peace Corps Career Link site. And if you hold on 1 second, we have people who still cannot hear. So let me just again post the conference line information. If you cannot hear through your computer, please dial in through your phone with the number I just posted on the chat. So again, we're holding a career fair on April 27th. We hope everyone is able to apply for jobs through the Peace Corps website and participate in that. Our hiring managers will be contacting well-qualified candidates who apply for the positions to set up interviews for that week. And so please go check out the CareerLink site and look at those positions. We also will be continuing to post positions today and the next few days, so there will be more popping up there, so please take a look. Before we begin, I have just a couple of housekeeping things to run through. First, everyone will be muted, but you can enter your questions on the chat box, and we will answer those and work through them at the end of the call. Feel free to list your name if it's not on there, as well as where you are stationed. And then also we'll be recording this webinar, and Peace Corps will be posting it online for you. With that, I'd like to turn it over to our first panelist, Erica Navarro, to give you a big picture overview of USDA.
Hi, everyone. My name is Erica Navarro. I am so excited to be here with you all to talk a little bit about my Peace Corps experience and why I think my Peace Corps experience really helped me in my current role at USDA, and why I think that USDA is a great place to start your federal career in the States. So my name is Erica Navarro. Like I said, I was a Peace Corps volunteer in Nicaragua between 2001 and 2003. I was a small business volunteer who worked with a micro finance institution that made loans to female entrepreneurs. And currently, I am the director of the Office of Budget and Program Analysis. So in layman's terms, that basically means that I'm the budget director for USDA programs. That is a fabulous position to be in, because most of our policy decisions need funding to support them. So I get to see a little bit of everything that USDA gets to work on. At USDA, we are such a large organization, and I always refer to it as mini government. If you're interested in public policy or federal service, USDA is a great place to start out on, because you get a little bit of a flavor for just every single type of federal program that's out there. We're made up of 29 agencies and offices. We have almost 100,000 employees. We have more than 4,500 locations both in the U.S. and across the globe. And we have both permanent and seasonal opportunities. So, when I was looking at starting at USDA, I did what most people, I had the thought that most people thought. Okay, it's an organization, an agency that supports farmers, right? That was it. But I was completely amazed by the scope and span of what USDA works on. We work on everything. We work on international trade and supporting agriculture exports. we work on forest service. We have forest service, so we do. We have firefighters. We have forest conservation programs. We have we inspect meat and poultry. When people fly into the U.S. And you see those dogs in the airports that are inspecting people and asking you whether you've brought in any food into the country, that's us as well. So, and then we do things like SNAP benefits, all the sort of income support programs that you think of when you think of nutrition assistance in this country. So I say that because it's a great place to start your career in the federal government to really get a sense for what the government works on. And I think that when you start at USDA, you'll be able to use a lot of the skills that you developed in Peace Corps because you'll be able to use, when you start in Peace Corps, you sort of start in like a certain sector, like I'm a small business volunteer, but you start, when you're on the ground, people start coming to you and asking you for different advice, different support, and that's the same thing that happens at USDA. You're never sort of pigeonholed into one profession. Every day you're asked to work on something that really is a skill set and gives you an opportunity to work on just a really wonderful variety of programs. So with that, I will turn it over to Chris.
Thank you, Erica. My name is Chris Hartley. I was a Peace Corps volunteer in Senegal, West Africa from 1993 until 1996. Like many of you, I knew I was happy to be in Peace Corps. I was also happy to be coming back, but I didn't know really where to start or how to start or what I wanted to do. So what I did is I landed, and I took a couple of months to figure out what I was doing, and I knew what I wanted to do next, which is I wanted to keep feeding people. USDA sounded like a great place to do it, but I knew I didn't have the skills necessarily for the job that I wanted forever after. So I did go to graduate school. Looking back on it, I wish I'd done both at the same time. I'll get into that a little bit more in a moment. Currently, I work at the Office of the Chief Economist. I'm the Senior Environmental Markets Analyst. And that means that I really get to work both in science and in policy, and for me, that's the right fit. In order to get there, I did go back to school. I did get my PhD, but at the same time, I kept an active role in feeding people, in working in production agriculture. I'm also very proud to serve on the board of the Return Peace Corps Volunteers group at USDA. Erica mentioned that we're all over the U.S. and also all over the world, but if you look at it, we have probably between 1,000 and 2,000 Return Peace Corps volunteers working in that workforce. There are about 250 or 300 of us in the national capital chapter of the Return Peace Corps volunteers at USDA, and we'd really like to invite you to come and join us. USDA is a great place to work. As Erica mentioned, we have 29 agencies and offices, and there really is an opportunity to do almost anything. Today we have about 150 positions open on the Peace Corps career site, and they range from entry-level positions to senior managers. That means anything from literally fire jumpers, the people that are out there putting out forest fires, and other natural resources managers pretty much in every county in the U.S., to loan and grant specialists, budget analysts, social scientists, researchers, administrative specialists, and even folks in public affairs. USDA really does do it all, and we'd like to invite you to come and help us do that. I've long said that the reason you want to hire a Peace Corps volunteer is they can do almost anything with almost nothing. It means you're very motivated and you're just the type of people that we're looking for. What I'd like to encourage you to do is to really take advantage of that non-competitive eligibility that you have. And that means even if you're not certain that you want a permanent federal career, look at taking a temporary job, a year, 2 years, 3 years, build your resume, build your skill set, and figure out what it is you want to do now that you're coming back to the U.S. USDA is a great place to do that, and there's some really great people to work with, both within the agency and all of our customers. So once again, as Abby mentioned earlier, we do have our virtual hiring fair coming up on April 27th. So between now and then, please look at all the jobs that we have posted, and please put your resume out there. We'd love to have you with us.
Thanks, Chris. Now we have three folks from different parts of USDA who are going to talk about their experiences and careers in those areas. And first up, we have Katie O'Connor. Katie? Katie, we can't hear you. I think you're on mute.
Thanks, Abby. All right. Thanks for everyone who's taken the time out to join us today. First and foremost, I really want to thank you all for your service. Peace Corps volunteers are special people, and you know, the motivation and passion that you all have and that drove you to be Peace Corps volunteers in the first place is really a special quality. And we hope that you'll find that USDA is a great place to bring that. So I am the communication director at the Forest Service at USDA, and I've been here for 7.5 years with the Forest Service. My Peace Corps experience was in Nicaragua. I was there from 1999 to 2001. And as I was looking back and thinking about my experience and what you all are going through, I remembered my own 2 in-country evacuations for political reasons, things that were going on, and a medical evacuation back to the States, and 9/11 happened during that time, and it's just really was powerful to think about what you all are going through is just on a whole other scale. So thank you so much for your service, and I hope that you'll be able to take that passion and motivation and find that next step where you can apply your skills, the same ones that you would have used in your Peace Corps service, no matter where you were in that time frame, and bring it back here. So after Peace Corps, I worked in a nonprofit in Chicago, learned how to do conservation, energy assessments for homes. I had been an environmental education volunteer in Peace Corps, and it was a really neat experience in that it really grounded things that I thought that I believed in reality. What did that look like for people who were living off the land, who were using, I lived on the Caribbean, people who were dependent on the fishing economy and what that looked like. And to bring that back here and think about how everything that we do at the Forest Service, how it relates to people and our needs for survival on the planet. It really feels good every day to come to work and know that at USDA and at the Forest Service we're contributing to that. You know, how I got here, I did go to grad school, as Chris mentioned. I did a neat program at Indiana University, and then worked for Peace Corps for 7.5 years as a recruiter. So probably didn't recruit any of you, as I've been over here at Forest Service for a while now, but I loved my volunteer experience and my work experience. Why federal service? You know, why should you think about that? Personally, it isn't something that I had thought about all along, but I had a great grad school advisor who said to me, you know, don't say no to a job with the Peace Corps, and I'm really glad I didn't. I did not say no, and started my federal career there. And then as my time with Peace Corps drew an end and I had to think about where I wanted to go, I was really looking closely at the mission of other federal agencies. It would be hard to match Peace Corps, and I wanted to find a place where I felt that same commitment. And so at the Forest Service, the mission is to sustain the health, diversity, and productivity of the nation's forests and grasslands to meet our current needs and the needs of future generations. And again, similar to the commitment I felt to the Peace Corps, I felt that that mission had a strong calling, and it was something I'd feel good about every day. So that's how I ended up here. I worked in a regional office. I've been in public affairs for my entire Forest Service career, and have been here working in DC since 2016. So really my Peace Corps experience as a conservation education volunteer grounded something in me, a really strong desire to be working for conservation and working particularly in what are humans' needs and what is the planet need, and how do we all work together to be sustainable now and into the future. So I've seen in the chat there's a lot of questions around, you know, what if you're not an Aggie? What if that's not your background? As Chris mentioned, there's a wide variety of opportunities at USDA. And at the Forest Service, there's foresters, firefighters, budget, administrative positions. We have a huge HR operation with over 25,000 employees. So there's a ton of opportunity, and I know for certain that within the Forest Service, people are really excited to hear that we're going to be using this NCE hiring authority. There's a lot of positions, despite the pandemic going on. Our work has to continue, and there's a lot of vacancies. So we hope you'll consider it. Look forward to hearing from the other panelists here and being available for the Q&A. So I will hand it over now to our next panelist, Abby.
Great. Thank you, Katie. So up next we have Adam Rosenberg. Adam?
Hi, thanks so much. I'm so thrilled to be on this call. To all of our RPCVs, I'm so sorry for what you've gone through recently, and welcome home, and welcome to our RPCV community. I am excited for your non-competitive eligibility status, and I'm very jealous of it. It is an amazing resource available to you. Please use it. My goal today is to try to motivate you not just to use it, but to use it to come work with me at the USDA Foreign Agricultural Service. I was a Peace Corps volunteer in Lesotho in Southern Africa from 2006 to 2008. Specifically, I was a HIV/AIDS advisor. My wife was also a Peace Corps volunteer in Paraguay, and we actually met at a Boston area return Peace Corps volunteer event. And I love my Peace Corps service, and I'm grateful to be able to say that I love my work at the Foreign Agricultural Service. I love what I do, where I do, who I do it with, and that's really, that speaks to how the COVID-19 situation has really challenged me, because I can't be in my office with all the people that I love to be around so much, but I am grateful to get this extra time at home with my family. I did create a prepared statement because I'm known for talking too much, and this way I can stay focused. So I wrote something that I think gets me excited about FAS, and I hope it excites you too and motivates you to apply to work for us. And if you want to read more about my quote-unquote nonlinear background, just connect with me on LinkedIn. I have a very thorough LinkedIn profile, and I love to connect on LinkedIn and would be happy to communicate with you offline about opportunities. Abraham Lincoln established USDA in 1862. However, prior to that, in 1784, Thomas Jefferson became the first American to represent U.S. Ag abroad in his role as a congressionally appointed minister to France. The Foreign Agricultural Service, or FAS as we call it, is the foreign affairs agency with primary responsibility for USDA's overseas programs. We are a trade agency that promotes U.S. agricultural exports, and we link U.S. agriculture to the world to enhance export opportunities and global food security. In addition to our Washington, D.C. staff, FAS has a global network of 93 offices covering, oh boy, I see somebody already connected with me on LinkedIn. So all right. In addition to our Washington, D.C. staff, FAS has a global network of 93 offices covering 171 countries. These offices are staffed by agricultural attachés, which is our term for foreign service officer. So we actually have our own foreign service, and locally hired agricultural experts who are the eyes, ears, and voice for U.S. agriculture around the world. FAS staff identify problems, provide practical solutions, and work to advance opportunities for U.S. ag and support U.S. foreign policy around the globe. In serving as the voice for U.S. agriculture and international affairs, FAS brings together the diverse views of American farmers, ranchers, processors, and trade associations, as well as U.S. government agencies and non-governmental organizations. FAS's enacting legislation from 1930 allows for agricultural attachés and locally employed staff in international offices to serve as the vital eyes, ears, voice, and hands of U.S. agriculture around the world. These international offices often serve as the first point of contact for companies looking to export to a foreign market. Thus, FAS leadership in foreign agricultural affairs is realized through its global network of civil servants, foreign service officers, and locally employed staff. Personally, I've been there for 3 years, and I'm on my third job. My first job had me working in capacity building in Latin America and the Caribbean. My second job had me working in capacity building in Pakistan, and I'm currently working on a congressionally mandated global international exchange program that is categorized as capacity building. We bring fellows to the United States for 2-week programs from middle-income nations around the world. We are getting prepared to post 36 positions for you located within the Foreign Agricultural Service. We expect them to be posted today or tomorrow, and I really hope that you'll consider looking at them, submitting as many applications as you can to cast the widest net, and come work with me. It's really awesome, and it's one of the best kept secrets in the federal government. Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. And our last panelist is going to be BJ Wetstein. BJ?
Hello, everybody. I want to echo what some other folks have said. I know how jarring it can be to be evacuated from your Peace Corps service. I know what it means to all of you to have had the opportunity to get to know the people in your community and to help them, and then to be pulled away so abruptly, in many cases without even the chance to say goodbye. So thank you for your service. Welcome to the RPCV community, and my heart really goes out to you and the experience that you're having right now. I was Peace Corps volunteer in China back from 2006 to 2008, and I'm currently with the Animal Plant Health Inspection Service, also known as APHIS. It is a part of a larger branch of USDA, a mission area called Marketing and Regulatory Programs, which is pretty self-descriptive of what we do. There is an agency called the Agricultural Marketing Service, and they're responsible for a wide variety of activities, from whenever you go into the grocery store and you see the USDA seal on any commodity, whether it's meat or produce or eggs, that is somebody from Agricultural Marketing Service, either setting the standard for that or actually physically looking at every single one of those products. The other thing that Agricultural Marketing Service does is it also helps large industry groups, so let's say the avocado growers of the United States of America. It helps them market their products, not just for one particular producer, but for all of the avocados, right? You may have seen some of the really famous food campaigns throughout United States history. Got Beef, the incredible, or no, excuse me, Got Milk, Beef, It's What's for Dinner, the incredible edible egg. All of that was supported and created by the Agricultural Marketing Service. So Agricultural Marketing Service has a lot of different positions. As Adam mentioned, those positions aren't on RPCV Career Link yet, but they will be over the course of the next few days, so keep an eye out for this. The great thing about Agricultural Marketing Service is that it's not necessarily just located in Washington, D.C. A lot of their programs are headquartered in D.C., but they have satellite offices everywhere in America where agriculture happens. AMS is also posting jobs from entry-level positions out there in the field, from places like Kansas City to New Orleans, Louisiana, to South Carolina. So a lot of different positions all over the place. We have positions for market news reporters, so people who are actually tracking market progress in any individual commodity and then helping share that information so farmers and marketers know what the agricultural markets are doing. We also have positions that are based here in Washington, D.C., helping support all those field offices. AMS is great. I'm currently a training and development specialist in APHIS, but I'm lucky enough that I get to work with my friends in Foreign Ag Service, I get to work with my friends in Agricultural Marketing Service, and I get to support the Animal Plant Health Inspection Service. In fact, there are 5 returned Peace Corps volunteers in my 30-person office. We've found over 60 RPCVs working at Animal Plant Health Inspection Service. So AMS also is always hiring returned Peace Corps volunteers. Even before this, they're using non-competitive eligibility all the time to fill these positions. APHIS, like Agricultural Marketing Service, is a pretty big organization. And we have about 26 positions that are going to be going up on RPCV Career Link over the next few days. Like AMS, we're located wherever agriculture happens. Our headquarters is in Riverdale, Maryland, which is just north of Washington, D.C. We have a lot of positions that are opening up there. We also have positions in Ames, Iowa, Raleigh, North Carolina, Kansas City, and Minneapolis, Minnesota. So for those of you who are looking for jobs not just in D.C., but maybe closer to where you're from or to another target location, both AMS and APHIS have opportunities for you. So the difference between AMS and APHIS, AMS is more focused on the quality of agricultural products and helping folks market and transport those agricultural products. So working with industry to make sure everybody knows what's happening and everything gets where it needs to be. With APHIS, we are focused on animal and plant health, right? So any animals or plants coming into or out of the country, we're making sure that they meet the requirements and standards of healthy animals. The other thing that APHIS does is emergency response. So if there is an outbreak of avian influenza or any other sort of big animal disease, we have boots on the ground, we have people out there supporting state departments of agriculture and working directly with agricultural producers to help them deal with that. We have a lot of really diverse jobs, again, entry level to some higher level management positions. Our positions are located all over the United States. We have people literally who are patrolling the southern border of the United States to watch for cattle that might come across the border to make sure that they get tested for diseases and make sure that we don't have cattle coming in here that don't meet our standards. We have people that are working to keep birds away from airplanes because one of the biggest causes of airplane crashes in the world is bird strikes. APHIS is working on that, right? We also have a lot of scientists working in APHIS and veterinarians. And I want to go back to one thing that one other person said. You don't have to be an ag expert to work for the Department of Agriculture. You know, I worked in education my whole life. I worked in education as a volunteer in China, and I've been able to come and bring my training and education background to support all the great people that are doing right and feeding the people of the world. I'll end with one last story. I worked for Peace Corps for about 8 years after I left as a volunteer after a COS from China. And when I was getting ready to leave, I was calling all of my friends who had left before me and gone to other government agencies. And then, I talked to people from Department of Labor, and I said, hey, how's Department of Labor? And they'd say, it's okay, but it's not Peace Corps. And I called people over at Department of Commerce, and I'm like, hey, how's Department of Commerce? And they said, it's okay, but it's not Peace Corps. But then I called somebody at USDA, and I said, how are things at USDA? And they said, USDA is great. I feel like the people that I work with, we are family, and I think that the work that I'm doing matters because it helps American farmers, it helps the American people. Everybody needs to eat. Everybody needs to wear clothes, so the work that we do is really meaningful and important. I was also a Peace Corps Fellow. I got my master's degree at Notre Dame through their Peace Corps Fellowship Program. Like Adam, if you want to connect with me, please look me up, BJ Wetstein on LinkedIn. I will accept your friend request and answer your questions. And with that, I will stop talking. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, BJ, and thanks for all of our panelists today for sharing their stories and talking about their love of the USDA. We're now going to move on to the Q&A portion of the webinar. In addition to the RPCVs that you've already heard from, we have 5 others on the line so that all of our mission areas are covered and we can answer your questions, along with a team of HR experts to answer some of the HR-specific questions you've been posting. I will start going through those now, and feel free to keep adding questions to the chat. I know a number of them have been answered through the chat box, but we'll go ahead and talk about them so that everybody can hear. So first, both Wes and Patty asked the question, if you do not have NCE, should you still apply? And I would try to answer that because I'm going to punt that to our HR team to give an official response. HR team?
Good afternoon. This is Gail Vini. Should you apply if you don't have non-competitive eligibility? For some people that means different things. It may have expired, or they may still be within the process of it not having expired. From looking at the chat box, I have seen where some folks have gone already and applied, even if their NCE or their non-competitive eligibility have expired and they were able to be selected or still get in, if you will. So based on their personal experience, I would say go ahead and apply. Also, too, you just want to, you don't want to, I would just say be proactive and still apply, even though you are not sure if you are able to be considered to be eligible for this non-competitive eligibility. Let HR make that decision. Now, as far as the non-competitive eligibility, I will say, too, just to make sure that when you do apply, as far as your documentation is concerned, make sure that you have your certificate of service document available. And then also, especially for your Peace Corps staff, make sure you have your SF-50. There are some instances, though, as far as the time requirements go, where you may be able to receive an extension. There are some instances where you may be able to get an extension if you have gone into military service and your time has expired, or you also may be able to get an extension if you have furthered your education at a higher institution. Also, the agencies consider each applicant's documents on a case-by-case basis, so the agency may make their own determination to go ahead and refer you or even go ahead and select you for that position, even if your eligibility has expired.
Thank you for that. Next, Clay asked if someone could talk about the Forest Service international programs and how that works in USDA. Katie, would you be able to jump in on that one?
Sure. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so International Programs of the Forest Service is also a home to many returned Peace Corps volunteers. And the way our International Programs Office works is they work through the State Department. And so similar to how Peace Corps programs are at the invitation of the hosting country, also our international programs projects are at the invitation of countries who'd like some expertise help. So we have all types of programs. There's some really neat programs in Mexico, for example, around the pollinator pathways across North America. We do technical assistance for example, with Australia or the Philippines with firefighters and expertise in that area. There's just all kinds of work that goes on. It's a smaller area within the Forest Service, but really a unique aspect of our mission, and one where there are many, you will find many returned Peace Corps volunteers there.
Thanks, Katie. Next, and I think Katie may have mentioned this on the chat box, but so everyone can hear, Anton had asked for any advice if someone does not have ag sector volunteer experience. Does anyone want to jump in on that one?
This is Laura Scott. I could probably answer that.
Go ahead, Laura.
Oh, thank you. I'll be brief, and then you can chime in too. So I want to say my business, or my background is in business, so international business marketing, and a Spanish minor, and I was a business volunteer in Peru. So I now work in the public affairs office at the Food Safety and Inspection Service. I also know that we are hiring several different positions, from HR to space management, veterinarians, and food safety inspectors. So there is a wide variety of types of jobs available at USDA. As I said, I do not have an ag background, and I've worked here for about 3 years.
Just to build on that, USDA is huge. The number of folks that actually have an ag background is comparatively small. We have a lot of folks who work in policy, in rural development, even extension. we can do it all. It's just a matter of finding the right job that not only fits the skills that you have, but really fits your interests. And then we can help you build those skills.
Okay.
Jen, Sweet with HR. I just wanted to add that, like, when you read the description of the job, you'll find a bunch of them that don't actually require, specific agricultural knowledge. And so those are the ones to apply to, as the other said. You want to find something that matches your skills and what you're interested in. And we have a wide variety of those positions. And so, pull up one announcement. If it's not quite the best fit, there will be another one that, will be a good fit for you. So, thanks.
Great. In China and a couple other folks mentioned that they still don't have access to their BOS or NCE forms. Will a certificate of service suffice, or can they go ahead and start applying to USDA's positions without those documents? Could HR hop on that one?
Hi, yes, this is Nicole White. A certificate of service would suffice if you don't have your final NCE letter. Prior to you boarding that official position on a permanent basis, we would require you to have that. So definitely apply to the job utilizing your certificate of service.
Thanks, Nicole. And Sabrina asked if we'll have a recording with audio available, and where will that be? Yes, we are recording this with audio. We're going to send it to the Peace Corps after we get off today, and they, I believe, will post it on the Peace Corps YouTube website. Next question, Akila and Daniel and some others asked about the format for the hiring fair. So the hiring fair is a week starting April 27th dedicated for USDA hiring managers to spend virtually interviewing Peace Corps volunteers who have applied for the positions we've posted on the Peace Corps career link. So I would highly encourage you to get your applications in for those positions and continue looking over the next few days as we post additional positions. Next week, and our hiring managers will be reviewing those applications and making sure folks are qualified, and then we'll start reaching out to schedule interviews for the week of April 27th with the well-qualified Peace Corps candidates. So they'll reach out to you directly if they're interested in having a virtual interview with you during that week. So again, get in your applications because we really want to hire a great group of Peace Corps folks. The next question, Marissa asked, and this is another one for Katie, if you can jump in. What is a social services specialist in Forest Service? That's a position posted on the Peace Corps Career Link site. Katie?
Yeah, I saw that question and I was kind of Googling it. I saw a support services specialist. I didn't see a social services specialist. So maybe if there's someone in the chat from Forest Service HR, which I think there is, that he could answer. If it is support services, that's probably, I saw one of those on U.S. jobs for Forest Service. That's going to be in our budget or administrative support position, so it could be doing like budget analysis or working on that end or other administrative support. If there is a social service position, it would probably most likely be in our Job Corps. And I see Doug in there, yeah. So the Job Corps is a really neat aspect of the Forest Service mission, and it's a Department of Labor program, and the Forest Service has a number of sites around the country, and you're working with at-risk youth and integrating them into the conservation mission and hopefully training them up to become federal employees as well. So that's a neat part of the Forest Service, so and a good fit for our PCVs as well. And I see Doug putting some more information in there about Job Corps. Thanks, Doug.
Thanks, Katie and Doug. For those of you who don't know, Doug's Forest Service HR guru, so he's a good guy to know. The next question comes from both Adrian and Sam. They asked if they should attach a cover letter when they're applying on USA Jobs or for any of our positions. I think someone already answered that, but I think it was you, Katie, if you want to elaborate on that since you already answered it in the chat.
Sure. I mean, I think it varies for hiring managers. Personally, I like to see it. our HR specialists work really hard to give us a batch of qualified candidates, but sometimes you have 50 or even more candidates to go through. And so for me, when I'm trying to distinguish, all those folks meet the minimum qualification who really stand out to me, I like to read a good cover letter. It gives me that tapping into what motivates this individual to want this job. And if I can see that coming through in the cover letter and I can see it backed up on the resume where those skills are really identified and clear what your role and skills are, then those two things together for me as a hiring manager help me figure out who I want to move into that interview and reference check phase.
Thanks, Katie. And now I've got a question for Adam. Marissa wanted to know, do you need a master's degree to be in the Foreign Service?
Hi, that's a great question. Thanks for asking it. You do not need a graduate degree to be hired in to the Foreign Service. And I'll just add that the Foreign Service opens up its hiring process on average every 1 to 2 years. And when they open up that process, it's advertised as a job on USA Jobs. So when that time comes and that opportunity is posted, you would look for it like you would a job on USA Jobs. You would apply to it like you would a job on USA Jobs. And if you get past that initial application process in USA Jobs, you then get invited to an assessment in Washington, D.C. To be evaluated, and the process goes from there. Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. Next up, Jacob mentioned, and this may be another one for you, that he worked with an ag startup from abroad and USDA was changing how they work with them. Actually, I think we'll have to, Jacob, if you can provide a little more information on that in the chat box, that would be helpful, and we'll come back to it. The next question was from Wes. Wes, you asked which positions have the most openings. We still have a lot of positions coming open over the next couple of days, but I know Forest Service has, I believe, 50 or so jobs. The Food Safety and Inspection Service is looking for food safety inspectors all over the country and in other places. Pretty much all of our mission areas are hiring dozens, if not hundreds, of positions. Right now we've got about 150 positions up on the Peace Corps career link, just mostly NCE limited, but also some of them are open more broadly. That's in addition to what we normally have on USA Jobs. So definitely encourage you to look around and see what careers might be of interest to you on both the RPCV side as well as USA Jobs. And then Dan asked, should they apply through the Peace Corps career link, USA Jobs, or both? I'll let our HR specialist jump in, but if it's a job that's listed in both places, you should only have to apply for it once. HR folks, anything else to add to that?
Hi, this is Nicole. I would definitely recommend you viewing both areas and applying to both positions. As it was mentioned in the chat earlier, some of the positions that are available have not been posted yet on USA Jobs, so that you don't miss an opportunity. I would apply to both.
Okay. And the next question comes from Meredith. Is there an investigations unit? I can jump in on that. Many of our agencies at USDA do have investigations units that do various kinds of things. For example, like BJ, I'm originally from the Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service, and they investigate animal welfare. They investigate animal health disease incidents. I know AMS, the Ag Marketing Service, does similar to make sure that, for example, organic foods are accurately labeled and not being misrepresented. So there are definitely a lot of investigative jobs in USDA. I believe I may have seen one posted on the Career Link site yesterday, but there may be others. Is anyone else aware of any that are up right now that they want to mention?
I'm not aware of any vacancies right now, but OIG is always looking for investigators, and that's
applicable even if you don't have an ag background or necessarily know anything about egg grading or things like that.
Yeah, and I know that AMS will be posting some compliance and enforcement positions which have an investigative need.
Great. The next question was from Marissa. She wanted to know if there are entry-level foreign service positions in USDA that don't require a master's degree. Oh, and actually we already answered that, so we'll skip that one.
Actually, though, while there is this is Adam Rosenberg, while there is a foreign service question, may I just add one, I think, helpful detail about our foreign service?
Go for it.
Okay, thank you. I will just let people know, because this is kind of complicated stuff that you just don't hear about on the streets throughout the U.S. The USDA is one of 4 federal government foreign affairs agencies. And one of the things that means is that we do have our own foreign service. The other foreign affairs agencies are the State Department, USAID, and the Department of Commerce. And I just listed those in rank of size from largest to smallest. So the State Department has by far and away the largest foreign service. USDA has the smallest foreign service. However, it is sizable enough, and there are many perks that come with being a USDA foreign service officer versus say being a foreign service officer at other agencies. Of course, if you could be a foreign service officer anywhere, awesome, but USDA is an especially cool place to be a foreign service officer. Thanks.
And Adam, as follow-up to that, the next question was from Kelly. She wanted to know if the 36 positions you mentioned were specifically foreign service positions.
Actually, that's a good question. All of those positions will be civil service positions. So like any foreign affairs agency, we have civil servants and foreign service officers, and those are hiring mechanisms. So I'm a civil servant. All of those positions are civil service positions. And FAS will advertise a foreign service assessment down the road. And I was just typing this message to Catherine actually. The USDA just hosted a foreign service assessment in December, so it will likely be 1 to 2 years before another one is advertised. But what that means is it gives you 1 to 2 years to get hired as a civil servant with us, build out your FAS USDA resume, and get your name and face out around the building so that when the time comes, you're teed up for success in that foreign service assessment. Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. A couple of people answered this already, but Kelly asked, what is an SF-50? An SF-50 is just a form that shows that you've served with the federal government as a federal employee. So if you have not had a federal position outside of a Peace Corps volunteer position, that's not something you would need to worry about. Ariel asked, and Chris, I was going to see if you could answer this, if there are any extension jobs in USDA. Chris, do you want to talk about the national extension versus other extension and what options might be available?
Yeah, I think probably the place I'm most familiar with extension within USDA is the Natural Resources Conservation Service. That's the county level based outreach component of USDA. They run Farm Bill programs to help farmers improve their ability to manage natural resources. But by and large, what they do is they are the face of the agency. So they're working on farm with farmers, doing evaluations of agricultural practices, but also evaluations of environmental impacts from those agricultural practices. It's a great job. My first job within USDA was in Modesto, California, as the Natural Resource Conservation Services District Conservationist. I got to do a lot of the same things I was doing in Peace Corps, going out on farm and helping farmers figure out how to do things better. Look at those jobs. They're amazing, and once again, they're available throughout the country. so it isn't necessarily something you have to do in Washington, D.C. That's probably the most on-the-ground type of extension we do. You can also look at rural developments where there are business development extension type services as well. And then a lot of the agencies have public-facing components which may be of interest. I don't know what your background is, but please reach out to us, reach out to me, and I'd be happy to walk through that with you.
Thank you, Chris. And SJ asked how easy it was to move between federal jobs. Can you move to a different job series or a different GS scale, and how does that work? Do you have to stay in a position for a certain amount of time? I'll jump in first, but then would love if one or two of our panelists want to jump in. I think once you get into the federal service, it's a heck of a lot easier to move between federal jobs because a number of jobs are limited to current federal employees, so that means you can apply for those positions as well as those positions open to the public. You can move between job series if you have the qualifications. Sometimes that's education qualifications, sometimes it's experience, but you have to be qualified for any job series you move into. You can also move in between grade GS scale levels once you have enough time in that position. If something opens up or if it's a career ladder position, so for example, if it's a 9-11, after a year you could potentially move up from a GS9 to a GS11. I myself have moved from the Food Safety and Inspection Service to the Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service to the Office of the Secretary and then back to the Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service. So it's definitely doable. Would one of our panelists want to share their experience as well?
So, hey, Abby, this is Erica Navarro. I've worked in 7 different federal departments and agencies, so including Peace Corps. So it is definitely doable, particularly if you've got, if you're in a career similar to like budget or communications that really lend themselves to, being a position that is required of all departments. But yes, it is totally doable. And again, I just would reiterate that USDA is a great place to start your career because you do get that sort of bird's eye view of everything that the federal government does across departments. So we do a little bit of everything, and that really will allow you to figure out what you're interested in, where you want to pursue your career, both at USDA and later on in other federal agencies. Great.
The next question came from Hetty, and they asked, will we hire older volunteers without a master's degree, and what % of our employees are over 50? Absolutely. We would love to have you. We have a number of positions that do not require a master's degree, so definitely encourage you to apply. I'm not sure what percentage of employees we have over 50, but we can check on that. Next up for a question is whether we are only hiring mid-career GS 13 and 14 positions. We are actually hiring the whole range of positions. We've got entry-level, mid-career, as well as more senior positions posted up on RPCV career links, so definitely check those out. We have a question for FSIS. If we are hiring plant inspectors while COVID is going on, Laura, could you answer that?
Hi, yes. So we do have food inspector positions posted on the Peace Corps career link. I see we have food inspector positions and also consumer safety inspector. So that is also an in-plant personnel position.
Great, thanks, Laura. And I think we have time for a couple more questions, and then we'll wrap it up and tell you where you can reach out for additional information. Michelle asked if we're going to have any full-time summer internships. Some of our agencies right now are planning to do that. Obviously, with the situation with COVID-19, that may impact some timelines. But USDA does have an internship website. Just Google USDA internships and we'll get you there. And just check there to see when that announcement comes out for summer internships. Next question. This is one for BJ. Are there any open APHIS positions that could use people with experience abroad? And how is being a Foreign Service Officer in APHIS different than FAS? So you can do a short answer to that so we can wrap up.
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, APHIS also has Foreign Service. They typically are attachés posted overseas, and they work in the same area. So they're generally working to facilitate trade in that country and the United States to make sure that all of the agricultural products meet the plant health safety guidelines to bring stuff into the United States. So they're doing advising, they're participating in providing information about standards, and helping make sure that any differences in standards and differences in get worked out so that trade can happen.
And BJ, this is Adam Rosenberg. If I could just jump in and add something else. And BJ, correct me if I'm wrong, but as where historically APHIS Foreign Service Officers can have diverse academic backgrounds, this last Foreign Service Assessment included openings for both the Foreign Agricultural Service and APHIS Foreign Service Officers. And I believe the only requirement to make it past the USA Jobs application and to get to the APHIS Foreign Service Assessment was that you had to have a doctorate of veterinary medicine. So that's not always the case, but that was their requirement this time around. As where you don't need a graduate degree or a specific undergraduate degree to be eligible for the Foreign Agricultural Service Foreign Service.
Yeah, and typically the Foreign Service Officers that I've worked with in APHIS have been veterinarians or folks with a lot of subject matter knowledge around plant health.
Great. Thanks, BJ and Adam. One last quick question, then we'll wrap up. Jonathan asked if there will be any openings for positions that require contracting experience, and there are some already on the CareerLink Peace Corps site, so go look at those. Thank you, everyone, for all of your questions. They were fantastic. We loved having the opportunity to speak to you. USDA is open to hire and open to hiring RPCVs, so please go to the CareerLink site today and check over the next few days as additional jobs are posted. Get those positions, applications in for those positions, and as I mentioned, career managers or hiring managers will be reaching out starting next week to set up virtual interviews with well-qualified applicants for the week of April 27th. Thank you for all our panelists. Again, if you have any questions or follow-up, you can email us at peacecorps@usda.gov. Thank you, everyone, and have a fantastic week.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
That concludes our conference. Thank you for using AT&T Event Services. You may now disconnect.